Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm Claire Davis, and I'm here for our weekly 2 o'clock Monday special on thriving in the highs and lows of recruitment. And today I've got with us Martin Grady from the Thrive team, and we've got the lovely Alex Moyle, who you all know.
Hey, Claire.
Hi, how are you,
Hi,
Alex?
Claire.
Martin.
Yeah,
I'm
great.
really excited about this week, and the reason why I'm excited is because it's actually Mental Health Awareness Week. And this year, Mental Health Awareness Week is all about being kind. So Martin is going to be talking to us about being kind to ourselves and our own self-care in recruitment. So self-care in recruitment, what does that actually mean? So Martin, can you tell us, what does self-care mean to you?
Hi, Claire. So, yeah, for me, it's about how I'm feeling, both mentally and physically, and how it's affecting me, my mood, my performance at work, that kind of thing. So I spend a lot of time thinking about that, and I've developed some tools to actually enable me to change how I'm doing throughout the day. So we're human. We can't be 100% all the time. So, yeah, that's what it means to me.
Great, thank you. What about you, Alex? What does self-care mean to you?
I guess it's trying not to beat yourself up all the time. So I set pretty high expectations of myself and what I should or shouldn't be able to do in a day, and the nature of that is that you generally are fairly dissatisfied with everything, really, because you could always be better and you always could have done more, and that doesn't necessarily help you out over time.
And funnily enough, that's often the nature of the beast in recruitment, because we're always so self-critical. We can always do better. We can always achieve more than our target. Even if we've achieved more than our target, we should have achieved more because so-and-so didn't come through. So Martin, how long have you been in recruitment? Would you like to tell everyone about your journey?
Yeah, so I've been in recruitment since 2000.
Yep.
99, but real recruitment since 2000 when I joined Matchmaker at the time, became Match Tech. So yeah, I've been 21 years this year. So now I recruit, I'm a headhunter, so I recruit senior leaders into safety critical engineering industry.
Yeah. So over those years, it's over 20 years, with regards to self-care, have you seen the highs and lows of your own self-care?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah,
I was a classic old school recruitment companies, KPI driven, sales driven, getting beaten up every Friday afternoon for not hitting the KPIs, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
End of quarter beers, Friday night beers, all of that. So yeah, I've done all of that. Loved it.
You think KPIs are bad for self-care then in recruitment?
Depends how resilient you are. Is the honest answer.
So it depends on how resilient you are. What do you mean by that, Martin?
So I think resilience is so important when it comes to self-care. We need a lot of stamina and a lot of resilience in recruitment. And the next few years are going to be massive, for us. There's a lot to look forward to. We've obviously had a tough time the last couple of months, but resilience and stamina are going to be key.
Yeah.
So, an understanding of ourselves, putting our oxygen mask on, looking after ourselves first. That's not being selfish. And then we can help everybody else around us, help all our candidates, clients, etc. But we've got to look after ourselves first.
Yeah, and when you say I remember the, drinks Thursday nights, at least Friday nights, and definitely Saturday nights. And it's a case of when you say practicing self-care, what do you mean by that? Practicing self-care with regards to enhancing people's performance at work?
Well, when it comes to the, things like just really taking notice of how you're feeling makes a massive difference. So first 20 minutes of the day, if you've got an understanding of how you're feeling, then your mood, you can change that. If you're feeling a bit down, a bit grumpy, whatever it might be, you can change your mood. But it's about being aware of it in the first place.
Right, change your mood, So how have you changed your mood? Can you give us an example of what you've actually done, Martin?
Yeah, definitely. So I often do take notice of that and then try and work out what's affecting me and why my mood is in such a way. So try and get to the heart of it in the first place. And then some simple things like some exercise is great. Every morning I try and go and do some exercise. Breathing is fantastic. So learning how to breathe properly, right into the heart, bottom of your lungs. And also I do practice some gratitude and I practice some mindfulness as well. So,
Great. Okay.
yeah,
And funnily enough, Alex had a guest a couple of weeks ago who's a lady called Claire Dale who really talked about the breathing techniques. And it's something that I mentioned on Friday in my stand-up, that I brought meditation and breathing into my life finally after many years.
yeah,
And I'm finding through lockdown, I'm doing 10 minutes a day of meditation and breathing. And I
right.
feel like a different person. I'm so much calmer with my kids and I'm so much calmer in really stressful situations. So can you explain the breathing techniques that you use for us,
Yeah,
please, Martin?
so mindfulness for me has actually really changed um, the way in which I view lots of different things, to be fair. So
Yep.
ideally, you should practice 10 to 20 minutes a day. I don't do that. I use it when I need it. So if I'm feeling a bit anxious, I start to use mindfulness at that point. I often sit at my desk and do 8 to 10 minute meditation or
Yep.
just a breathing exercise. So
Yep.
that's about just clearing your mind and getting in the now. And,
Yep.
and then, trying to separate reality out of your brain as well. So get out of your head, get into the now,
Yeah.
and breathing really helps that. So that
Yeah.
focus on your breath really does help that.
So when you say focus on your breath and a breathing exercise, can you run us through the breathing exercise that you actually do?
I do various ones, Claire, to be fair, but
Okay.
so 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out is a very
Yeah,
simple one.
I do that. I do a 5-second one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And
so just something very simple like that, or actually just really focusing on getting a breath all the way past your chest into the back of your lungs at the back as well, and
yeah,
into down your diaphragm, etc.
I've
That
never,
really
yeah,
helps.
I've never heard of lungs at the back. What
Well,
do you mean?
your lungs have got obviously front and back, so often we just
Yeah,
breathe
just
into the
trying it
front.
now.
So if you
Oh
put
yeah,
your hand on
yeah,
your front and your back, and
yeah.
really focus on filling the back as well,
Wow.
you can go deeper.
Because the meditation I did recently actually really focused on bringing the breath into your stomach.
Yeah.
It was really hard at first, but it explained all the scientific side of it, how it really, really helps with. I've forgotten, but anyway, it helps with something because I was in such an relaxed mode. So you
Yeah.
mentioned breathing; that's important. Meditation. I've been doing a lot of guided meditations.
Right.
What are your suggestions with
So
regard to meditation?
guided is great. Guided is absolutely brilliant, and there's lots of different apps to actually do that. We did an 8-week mindfulness course,
Yep.
so I actually do my own now rather than following guided. But yeah, the Headspace is brilliant.
Yep.
And there's lots of free other
Yeah.
apps as well. So Headspace is great.
Yep, great. And you also mentioned exercise. So what exercise how would you bring exercise into our busy days in the recruitment industry? How do we actually bring it into our day?
Get up earlier.
Yeah. So what time's earlier for you?
Well, 6 o'clock, sometimes
Yeah.
5:30, depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm no athlete, Claire. But I enjoy it for my well-being as opposed to, I'm not going to go and do an ultra tomorrow or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's all about getting out there and doing something. Even if it's 20 minutes, it's great. But I try and do half an hour to 60 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week. And
So what
just
exercise? Sorry.
Swim, walk, run,
Yeah.
hit, anything,
Wow.
absolutely anything, paddleboard, whatever it might be.
Wow. And
Just more,
you were just about to say it. What does it do for you, the exercise?
just one, it gives me swimming is absolutely fantastic because you've got no choice but to breathe. So that's the first thing. And actually, working through your day ahead is great. So I often, when I'm either walking, swimming, or in the gym, think about what's going on the day ahead, some of the issues that I might face, preempt some of that.
Yep.
So it's brilliant for that. But if you're really struggling with that, is again back to your breathing, get it out your head, and just focus on what you're doing at the time. So it just makes a massive difference.
Brilliant.
It's a great way to start the day.
So we've got exercise, meditation, breathing, and you mentioned 2 other things. What were the 2 other things for your self-care?
So I practice gratitude.
Yeah. Yep,
So,
I do as well. So what did you do? And I'll let you know what I do then.
Every morning when I wake up, I choose 3 things that I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
Often it's about actually waking up and my heart's still working. might sound a bit zen, but it's a good thing for me. That's a good thing. If I'm struggling through the day, I actually practice it a bit more and look at 3 things that have happened to me that's been great in the day. And I always finish the day with 3 points of gratitude.
Excellent.
So, and it could be something really small or something really quite big, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And that really does help clear your mind as well.
And I'm loving this because I do exactly what you do. I'm doing the meditation and breathing. I do my exercise in the morning and in the afternoon. So to go to work and to leave. My biggest one is the gratitude as well.
Yeah.
I actually, every evening, I write 5 to 10 points of what I'm grateful for the day. And I've realized that the days I miss it, I don't actually sleep as well.
Yeah.
And I don't feel as positive the next day.
Yeah.
And I've also found that my brain's changed.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at negative things, I'm looking at positive things all the time. So how's it affected you, Martin?
Well, it's classic positive psychology.
Yeah.
I haven't got an ology, Claire. I do this through practice and a real interest in it. So a lot of the work I do is just based on trial and error. But
Excellent.
I just love the fact that there are ways and means to change how you're feeling.
Yeah.
So.
And I just love the fact you've been in recruitment for over 20 years. And it's a situation that, I know myself back in the 90s, I would never have done any of this stuff.
No,
and
absolutely
I
not.
feel like a completely different person.
Yeah.
I'm actually feeling a lot younger, a lot more full of life, and, just as if I can get from day to day, especially in these very, very trying times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned a 4th thing. What was the 4th thing?
Taking notice.
Yeah.
That's really key. I think I love being outdoors. One of the things about exercise in the morning is you get out early. Quite often you see the sunrise, or some parts of the day you wouldn't ordinarily see. So just taking notice of nature and what's going on around you is amazing. But also taking notice of other people as well.
Yeah.
And how they are and how they're doing. What you can bring to them, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So let me ask you a question. What have you been noticing since we haven't had all these fumes in the air?
Oh, obviously the air quality is staggering.
Yeah.
But we live on the south coast, so also the water quality is amazing.
Really? I haven't been near the beach.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Absolutely incredible. So when you get out and the air quality is amazing. We can see a lot further now than we were previously, but I managed to get out on the water at the weekend.
Yeah.
And the water is clear. It's really lovely.
Yeah. And were you paddleboarding? Were you paddleboarding?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I want to come and paddleboard when we're allowed to. So noticing, what I've been noticing when I've been going for my walks in the evening? I am loving the skies.
Yeah.
I'm just watching the skies. And it reminds me of when I was a kid in Australia. They're clearer skies and the skies during the day are bluer.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, look at this. It's just taking me back to my childhood, which is lovely.
Yeah. Well, you can't beat a Southern Hemisphere sky, Claire.
Well, you can't, but they've had pollution as well. Not as bad as us, but definitely.
But, I'm a big fan of looking at the sky at night.
Yeah, brilliant.
Definitely.
So we've had 4 great self-care tips from Martin there, and I think it's very, very refreshing to see that somebody is really practicing their self-care. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Alex back in because I'm going to put him on the spot and find out what he does for his self-care. Come on, Alex, are you listening? Are you coming back in?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm here.
Okay, so what are you doing at the moment for your self-care, Alex?
Oh, I'm working hard to not beat myself up. So
good.
Sometimes I get up and I just leave and I go, it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Yeah, good.
I'm not working nights. So basically when I finish at the end of the day, I do that. I've never been good at night working anyway. So it's sort of a bit of a rationalization. I'm trying to do something physical. So we've just had a lot of building work. So I've got 1 million acres of painting to do.
Yeah.
I'm digging a driveway and trying to just remind myself it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, brilliant.
Which is especially when we sell training into a sector that is struggling. So accepting the fact that it's like you can only do so much, and you are in part sort
Yeah.
of dependent upon that other community.
Yeah. Brilliant. So that's all self-positive talking. And I think positive talking is so important. And that goes with the gratitude diary. Martin, you look like you're about to say something then. Sorry.
I think just going off what Alex is saying there, you know, being in the now is so important. You know, there's one of my favourite quotes is there's 2 days of the week you can't do anything about, and that's yesterday and tomorrow. You know, so it's all about being
that's good.
It's all about being in the now, and especially in recruitment. You know, we're always hanging on for our next deal, our next interview, our next offer, our next.
I know.
You know, we're just constantly.
Now there are no deals, and now there are no offers. So we
exactly. So we've got to live now.
So it's being present. And I'm even finding that with homeschooling with my kids. There are times with my 10-year-old that I'm thinking, I should be checking that email. I should be doing this. I'm going, no, be present with him. I'm never going to have this time again. So just be present, Claire, and focus on him, which is really hard, especially if we're recruiters, because recruiters want to be achieving something more. We don't know how to slow down.
Yeah.
So,
And I think for me, the last 8 weeks has given us that. My whole philosophy about what I want to be doing in 5-10 years' time has changed completely.
Yeah.
Because it's given us that time to really think about what's important. So. Yeah.
Do you want to share any of your philosophy with us?
I better not. I've not put it into the plan yet.
Okay.
But no, definitely. I definitely don't want to work as long as I was planning to.
Yeah.
And I want to get out and travel more, etc. You know, got young kids, like all of us. You know, got young kids, so that's important.
Yeah.
Spend some great quality time with them.
Yeah.
And you know, be a great dad and be as fit as I can, so I can be running around with them. You know, so there's lots of different things. Yeah.
Definitely. Good. So, Alex, do you want to add anything to that? Or
no, not really. I think it's obviously Mental Health Week. It's in some what's good is that everyone's been talking about this a long while already. So it feels like, a week on mental health. I feel like everyone's been talking about that.
Yeah.
Of what we've been going through. I think that's really positive.
Yeah.
And I think just talking about it more, picking up tips and tricks, just like people 15, 20 years ago were picking up sales tips and objection tips and tactics. People are asking about tips and tactics around sort of well-being and self-talk. So that can only
be so important. Yeah. So I've got another question for you, Martin. I think this is quite interesting. We can go into the fight, flight, or freeze mode because a lot of people have been panicking. It's that fear mode. So have you got any unhelpful coping strategies that you've used in the past that you wouldn't use again that a lot of us might have had?
I think I've written previous blogs around this. So alcohol for me, classic, you know, ex-Navy. I was in the Navy for 12 years. And then recruitment, so alcohol was a big part of my life. So I've really got to, in the last 5 years, I've really got to understand the effects of what that does to me and my mental health, if you like. So I love a drink, don't get me wrong. I'll drink any time I can, really. No, I don't mean that. I'll definitely have a drink every now and again, but I won't drink anything more than 4% now. Because I know if I drink 5% or more, next day, 2:30, I'm going to be feeling rubbish.
I remember that. I remember when Beck's Veer came out, all my mates used to laugh at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not 1% lighter, that's 20%.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nicky was taken out of me, and then it was like, because you don't drink any slower when it's 5%. You're just
it's a good point, actually. I hadn't thought about the percentage. Really good point.
I think it's about understanding what it does to you. I'm not being anti-drinking. It's about what does it do to you personally. And once you've got a grip of that, you can you can drink responsibly, etc. So it's that, and caffeine as well. I used to drink a lot of lots and lots of coffee, so I limit my caffeine intake every day, and that really does help reduce anxiety. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
I've got this phrase which is, we've all got a finite amount of energy, so every bit of energy alcohol or caffeine gives you today, it robs from tomorrow.
It's a good point.
I started that with Red Bull, because Red Bull, it should just have that. It should be I'm going to make you feel brilliant today at the expense of.
Definitely. Well, interestingly enough, guess what drink I've worked out I cannot drink, and it's really disappointed me. Pardon?
Gin.
Yeah, I cry. I cry for a week if I've had a couple of drinks.
Isn't gin a depressant more so? It's got a chemical composition which makes you more. That's why they used to call it mother's ruin.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and
it's intriguing.
So it's
and I love it, absolutely love it. But I remember when I was at university, it would happen to me, and I just put it down to I wasn't experienced enough drinker, so I just had to drink more to get over it. No. But since it's become trendy again, I've tried it for an evening, and I'm crying for a week. It's just incredible. So if we can understand our bodies, it's understanding our bodies. And I've also found with caffeine that I went off caffeine because I did a detox when my 15-year-old was 1 or something. So it was a long time ago. Had the headaches for a week, but I've gradually brought caffeine back in. And the interesting thing is it's given me those headaches again.
Yeah.
And that's what it does to my body. So I'm not drinking caffeine again because of those headaches a couple of days later when I do drink it. The challenge, understanding us.
The challenge is you have like 2 weeks of detox, and that's painful, and then you get this pep of energy, and then you work out a way to spend that new energy you've got. So I haven't drunk really for about 5 years. But everyone goes, wow, you must feel fantastic. And I go, I don't know. It's just, I'm just tired still. But I don't know how tired I'd be if I still drank caffeine and that. So.
I think, sorry, Martin.
I think with all these things, it's about balance and where you are. Once you understand it and understand yourself, like you say, Claire, keeping balance is much, much easier in your life. And then that affects everything, work and home life. Definitely.
And I've also found out what foods make me feel lethargic. Worked it out. And I might be tired, but there's a difference between being tired because you've worked hard or being tired and lethargic all the time. So I've cut those foods out of my diet, and I'm feeling a lot better as well. So it's really, really intriguing.
Pasta and warm bread though.
Gluten's a nightmare for me.
It is nightmare. For me as well.
Just put the brakes on. I don't know how much lunchtime put the brakes on.
I don't put warm bread into a food group. I put it into the emotional category. You've got pasta and bread. I've been bad in the last few weeks, but I went through a stage where I basically did.
Yeah, definitely. So couple of unhelpful coping strategies. So my suggestion for people is to think about what's an unhelpful coping strategy that's not good for the long term. So if we can address these, we will then go on to the helpful coping strategies. So I'm going to put both of you on the spot. Current client has been trying for the last 8 weeks. So what has been your number one top tip for self-care in the last 8 weeks? Alex, I'm going to you first.
The top tip that's worked or not worked?
That's worked. The self-care that's worked.
Just accepting your situation.
I
was taught by one of my old bosses something called control, influence, accept. I think it's called the circle of influence. And it's focusing on the things that you can control. And limiting the amount of emotional investment you put into the things you can influence, because you always think you can influence things more than you can. So, and I'm pretty good at accepting stuff. I'm just not very good at deciding I can't influence it as much as I'd like.
Good. Like that. Thank you. What about you, Martin?
For me, definitely kindness. It's such a strong word, and it's such a strong practice as well. So being kind to yourself, first of all, accepting, like Alex says, accepting where you are in the day, in your life, whatever it might be, just be kind to yourself. But that then leads quite naturally on to being kind to other people as well. So being there for other people, listening to them, listening without judgment, all of those kind of things. So being there for other people like that is brilliant. And, people thrive when they've got somebody, they know they've got somebody to talk to. I know. For me, I've got an amazing wife and partner, so just having that opportunity to talk to somebody else as well and know that they're going to be kind back is phenomenal.
Thank you very much. And that goes with the mental health awareness theme, kindness. And Angela Cripps has also mentioned reaching out, talking to someone you trust. And, you know, for me, it's routine as well. If I'm in a routine, I know when I'm exercising, I know when I'm eating, I know when I'm doing my meditation. That's really been helping my self-care. And what we need to realize here, we've got 3 very different people here giving advice. We all agree on at all, but working out, I think the biggest thing that we've all agreed on is what works for you.
Yeah.
You know, what works for us individually, what works for me individually. You know, I can't drink gin, but there's many women out there and men, but I'm sorry about that, men there, but there's many people out there who are saying, oh, well, poor Claire, gin's the best for me. So, but, you know, thinking, is this actually helping me in the long run? Or is it just an unhelpful go-to coping strategy that's not helping? So any other comments? Martin, I would like you to tell us a little bit about exactly what you do, your business.
Oh, okay. So we are a search and selection business. So I recruit senior leaders into safety critical organizations. We're coaches. So all our candidates are offered transition coaching from one role to another. And we are a wellbeing in a workplace company. So we provide mental health awareness, training, resilience training, coaching, all those kind of things. So everything we do is all around wellbeing.
And I've been very, very lucky to work with Martin and his team, his wonderful wife, Ali. And Martin, would you like to tell everyone what your website is, please?
It's the thriveteam.co.uk.
The thriveteam.co.uk. So if you want to know more, and I'm sure Martin will also link with you on LinkedIn. So thank you very much. Next Monday is bank holiday. So self-care next weekend. And we have the Monday after. We have got at 2:00 the same time for our Thriving in the Highs and Lows of Recruitment, a man called Ben Bowers, who was in recruitment and is now working with Movember. So a very, very positive talk for strategies in recruitment for surviving through these highs and lows. Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments? No, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
See you all soon. Bye. Bye.